Welcome back to Hi Guys, BDR here, and I'm back with a WWE video. It's been 3 months since I recorded in front of a camera, BDR in the flesh here. And we're here to talk about, WrestlePizza, aka WrestleCockza, WrestlePalooza. So let's get started. 5 matches. The new ESPN era, full of surprises. Alright, let's get started. So first we have Cena versus Lesnar to open up the show as a shocker. Cena came out with a whole bunch of children, as his entrance, and the match happened. Cena hit multiple AAs, Brock kicked out at 2, and then Brock just hit a whole bunch of F5s on Cena to win the match. And then Brock ended up F5ing the ref as well. They tried to attempt to recreate Cena versus Lesnar from 2014, and it failed. Because the magic about that 2014 match is that people thought at that time that, okay, this is just going to be another Super Cena victory. It turns out with that 2014 SummerSlam match, it was literally the death of Super Cena. Cena was never the same after that match. And with this match, they try to recreate it, and it failed. This is one of those things where it's kind of the sequel wasn't better than the original. It's Cena and Lesnar, they've definitely had better matches, Extreme Rules and that SummerSlam match, even if they were 10 plus years ago. That got to arrange the mask a bit. There we go. So, yeah. Alright, opener. So next we have the Usos versus the Brawns. Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. With special guest referee LA Knight. This match was alright. Let me not say alright. It was good. It was watchable. It was a little fun. Chairs being involved. Whatnot, Jey Uso almost hit LA Knight with a chair. Then Braun Breaker and Bronson just took control. Braun Breaker spearing both the Usos through the table and then, dragging one of them. And, Bronson Reed hit the tsunami for the 1, 2, 3, and it's kind of bravo. The Brawns have won a PLE match together. Bravo, man. This just means it's LA Knight is going to get destroyed by the Usos this upcoming Monday. Alright then, third match on the card, we got Io versus Stephanie Vakir for the vacant championship. Not going to lie, they've done nothing to hype this match up. It just feels why was the women's world title vacant for a month? It really shows with the old regime versus the new regime, because we all know, back when Vince was in charge, or the old regime, they would have the moment that Naomi vacated the title, there would have already been a new world champion within that same week. But instead, they had to let the title be vacant for a month, not have Stephanie compete at Paris. I could tell there was probably a bunch of people that paid tickets just to see her wrestle, and oh well, whoop-de-doo. Not gonna lie, this match was kind of match of the night. Io does her thing usual, and not gonna lie, Io Sky's gotta be the best, female wrestler in ring, not overall. That's how it goes to Bianca Belair. Please, Bianca, we need you back. Save the SmackDown division, please. Anyway, back to Stephanie and Io. They both did their thing tonight, a bunch of reversals, whatnot. Stephanie targeted the bad knee of Io, capitalized. Even Stephanie hit the Stephanie Vakir bomb. Io kicked out at 2. Io's moonsault didn't land. Stephanie hit the spinal tap, aka a Phoenix Splash. 1, 2, 3. Stephanie Vakir is now the new women's world champion. Not gonna lie, she definitely deserved it. I believe this is her third title in like a 7-month span, because she won the North American title, she won the NXT Women's title in a unification match, and now she's Women's World Champion. All that within the year of 2025. Congratulations, Stephanie Verkeer. She definitely deserves. You deserve it. Then second to last match of the night, the mixed tag match. Punker and AJ versus Seth and Becky. Not gonna lie, this was a fun match. The whole time Becky being afraid of AJ is kind of funny. In a sense, afraid of AJ's weirdness. Match was good, Seth and Punk, even though I want the feud to be over as soon as possible, they did their thing as usual. The main question was around, can AJ Lee hang with the current women of WWE today? And not gonna lie, she looked like she did tonight. She looked like she did in that match. Everything, Black Widow, Shining Wizard, Sliced Bread. She did her thing tonight. Towards the end, whatchamacallit, it was down to like, Punk and Becky. Becky hit Punk in like, what was it? The sharpshooter. Punk reversed, and yeah, Punk reversed, put her in the pin. I'm just like, Seth, like, Punk has your woman like in missionary position. You gotta do something here, Seth. Seth got up, pedigree, curb stomp. 1, 2, 3. AJ hits a curb stomp of her own. Then later on, they're grabbing both of them to the announce table. And Becky just pushes AJ Lee onto Seth and Punk, and the announce table collapse. I thought that was a pretty fun spot. Then it was just down to AJ and Becky. Becky tries to hit the Grand Man Slam. AJ reverses into the Black Widow. Becky taps out. That's the match. Overall, this was a fun match, and it should have been the main event. I'm not gonna lie. All right, then down to the actual main event. Cody versus Drew, WWE Championship. This match was low key mid. This match was mid. It didn't feel pay-per-view caliber. While I'm looking at the match, it's like, yeah, it was good. The Cody cutters. Those Cody cutters always look nice. Drew try to, use an exposed turnbuckle. Referee just, left the ring the moment before he got ref bumped. So, I mean, at least they're showing that the refs do have IQ on them. So that's a nice addition. So then, roll up. Drew's rolling up Cody. The crowd's counting to 8. Referee gets back in the ring. 1, 2. Oh, kick out. Really? Really? Then, Drew takes control. He tries to, Claymore Cody through the bottom of the announce table. Referees just tell him, no, don't do it. And then Drew tries to do it anyway. Cody obviously ducks, in time. Drew's, foot, leg basically shattered at that point. Cody tries to go for another, Cody cutter. Glasgow kiss. Drew tries to go for another Claymore. And then, bad leg, Claymore leg basically gave out Cody cutter, crossroads, 1, 2, 3. Cody wins, LOL. That's it. The show ends. Expect big surprises in all we got. Oh yeah, Undertaker showed up. Biker Taker showed up. Like, yeah, that's cool and all, but people were expecting an electrifying Pebble tonight, and the Pebble didn't show up. Whoop-de-doo. All Undertaker did was pull up to Stephanie we've been friends for a very long time. You know, nostalgia sells, people. Nostalgia sells. Alright then, that's pretty much been it for, you know, WrestlePalooza. My final score of this, I'm going to give this thing like a 5.5 out of 10. It was alright. That's it. It was alright. It was at least watchable, but nothing special. Like, Clash at Paris was like way better than this. Alright then, that's pretty much been it for this you know, pizza review. Make sure to like, share, subscribe for more WWE, AK Worlds, Yu-Gi-Oh, you know, NBA content. And yeah, hi guys, out.